You will never master your life until you master your emotions. Every mistake, every broken relationship, every missed opportunity, it all begins when you lose control of yourself. The world doesn't destroy you, your reactions do. This is your guide to emotional dominance, how to stay calm under pressure, how to respond with strength, and how to stay in control when everyone else is falling apart. Because when you master your emotions, you master everything. Chapter 1. Stop reacting. Start responding. You react too fast. That's the problem. Someone disrespects you, and you react. A plan falls apart, and you react. You feel insulted, ignored, embarrassed, and you react. Every time you do, you give away your power. Reacting is emotional reflex. Responding is emotional control. That's the difference between the weak and the powerful. Pause, breathe, decide. That's your new formula. Say it out loud. Pause, breathe, decide. Because emotional control begins in the gap, that small space between what happens and what you do next. That's where power lives. That's where maturity lives. That's where transformation begins. Most people never find that gap. They live as slaves to impulse. They hear, they feel, they react, and regret it later. You will not live like that anymore. You're going to train your mind to pause, to think, to respond. Let's be clear. Reacting feels good in the moment. It feels like power. You snap back, you raise your voice, you prove your point. But that's not power. That's weakness wearing a disguise. Reacting is handing over control. Responding is taking it back. When you react, someone else is driving your emotions. When you respond, you are behind the wheel. So the question is, who do you want in control of your life? Every reaction you've ever regretted, every argument, every decision you wish you could undo, came from emotion outrunning reason, from speaking too soon, from acting before breathing. You can't erase those moments, but you can prevent the next one. Here's how. Pause. Breathe. Decide. It sounds simple, but it will change everything. When something triggers you, when your heart rate rises, when your fists clench, when that wave of irritation hits, do nothing. Not yet. Just pause. Count to 10 if you have to. Take one slow breath. That pause is the birthplace of self-control. In that pause, you regain perspective. You remind yourself, I am not my emotion. I am the one observing it. That single realization separates the reactive from the powerful. Think about the people you respect most, the leaders, the professionals, the disciplined. They're not calm because life is easy for them. They're calm because they've trained that pause. They've built it into their nervous system. When chaos hits, they don't flinch. They don't lash out. They let everyone else react, and they stay still. Because silence is strategy. Because patience is strength. Because composure commands respect. Let me give you a real example. A CEO once said his most valuable habit was waiting 10 seconds before he answered anything emotional. Whether it was praise or criticism, he never replied instantly. He waited. 10 seconds of silence in a heated room feels like eternity. But in that silence, he reclaimed control. He owned the moment. And people followed him, not because he was loud, but because he was composed. That's the power you're building right now. Let's be practical. Every time you feel yourself reacting, whether it's anger, anxiety, or frustration, your body is trying to hijack you. Your emotions are ancient survival systems. They want action, not thought. But you're not an animal anymore. You're a disciplined human being. You have a mind. Use it. When your brain says, react, you answer, no, I respond. That's the key. You can't stop emotion from rising, but you can stop emotion from ruling. That's what mastery looks like. Let's break it down into steps you can practice today. Step 1. Recognize the trigger. Feel it coming. When something irritates you, the text, the tone, the delay, don't deny it. Just notice it. Step 2. Name it. Say to yourself, this is anger. This is frustration. This is insecurity. When you name an emotion, you separate from it. Step 3. Breathe. Deep, controlled breathing slows your heart rate and re-engages the rational brain. That's not philosophy. That's biology. Step 4. Decide your response, not based on emotion, but based on intention. What's your goal? To win or to grow? To be right or to be respected? That's the difference. Reacting wins the moment. Responding wins the long game. Understand this truth. Control is not suppression. You're not ignoring your feelings. You're managing them. You're leading them. Leaders don't deny emotion. They direct it. They turn anger into focus. They turn fear into preparation. They turn discomfort into fuel. That's how you stay dangerous but disciplined. You have a choice every single time. You can let the moment own you, or you can own the moment. There will be days you fail. Days when you speak too fast, react too soon, fall into old habits. That's fine. Awareness is the first victory, because every time you catch yourself mid-reaction, you're already stronger than yesterday. That's growth. That's discipline. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware. And with every pause, with every conscious breath, with every deliberate response, you're rewiring your mind for control. You're becoming the person who doesn't flinch, doesn't panic, doesn't lose composure. You're becoming steady in a world that's chaotic. And make no mistake, in a reactive world, calm is power. So, the next time someone tests you, when your buttons are pushed, when you feel provoked, remember this. You don't owe anyone an instant reaction. You don't need to prove yourself in the moment. You don't need to respond emotionally to be seen as strong. Real power is restraint. Real confidence is silence. Real control is choosing your response with precision. Because that's how you dominate the only battlefield that truly matters, your own mind. Pause. Breathe. Decide. Repeat it until it becomes automatic, until it becomes instinct, until it becomes who you are. You'll know you've mastered it when someone tries to provoke you, and you simply smile. No anger, no tension, no reaction, because now you see what's really happening. Someone else is losing control, and you're not joining them. That's dominance. That's peace. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to answer every insult. You don't have to react to everything that moves. You have one job: respond with strength. That's how you separate from the weak, from the impulsive, from the emotional. That's how you start mastering your emotions before they master you. Chapter 2. You are not your feelings. Say that again. You are not your feelings. Your emotions are signals, not commands. They are information, not identity. You can feel anger without acting angry. You can feel fear without being afraid. You can feel sadness without being broken. That's the difference between those who control their mind and those who are controlled by it. Here's the truth. Emotions are not the enemy. They are messengers. They exist to tell you something, not to tell you what to do. Anger says, a boundary has been crossed. Fear says, there's uncertainty ahead. Sadness says, something valuable was lost. But what weak people do is confuse the message for the mission. They let the signal become the story. They build identity around emotion. I'm just an angry person. I'm anxious. I'm insecure. No, you're not. Those are experiences, not definitions. Stop labeling yourself by temporary states, because once you label it, you feed it, and what you feed grows. Here's your new mantra. Feel it, but don't feed it. Say it out loud. Feel it, but don't feed it. When anger rises, don't feed it with more anger. When fear appears, don't feed it with more worry. When sadness hits, don't feed it with self-pity. Feel it, acknowledge it, but don't build a home in it. Let's talk science for a second. Neuroscientists have proven this. A raw emotional reaction, the chemical surge of anger, fear, anxiety, lasts about 90 seconds. That's it, 90 seconds. After that, it's not chemistry, it's habit. If you're still angry after 90 seconds, you're keeping yourself angry. If you're still anxious after 90 seconds, you're choosing to replay the thought. The emotion is gone. What's left is mental repetition. That's where discipline comes in. Because emotions happen, but feeding them, that's a choice. And every time you feed an emotion, you reinforce the identity that comes with it. Every time you replay the moment, retell the story, relive the pain, you teach your brain that emotion equals truth. But emotion is not truth. Emotion is energy, and energy must be directed, not obeyed. You have to start observing your emotions like traffic lights. Red means stop, yellow means slow down, green means go. If you treat every emotion like green, go, react, act, you'll crash, you'll burn. But if you pause long enough to read the signal, you'll move strategically. That's emotional intelligence. That's self-control. That's mastery. Think about this. The calmest people you know still feel deeply. They just don't let those feelings dictate their behavior. They're aware of emotion, not ruled by it. They experience the storm, but they don't become the storm. That's who you're becoming. You're training yourself to separate emotion from identity, to feel fully but act consciously. You can be passionate without being impulsive. You can be emotional without being irrational. That's emotional maturity. Here's what most people get wrong. They think control means suppression. They think strength means never feeling. That's false. Suppression is weakness. Avoidance is fear. You don't suppress emotion. You understand it. You don't run from it. You watch it. That's the discipline. Imagine this. You're in traffic. Someone cuts you off. Instantly, your blood pressure spikes. That's emotion. You can't stop it. But now, 90 seconds later, you're still shouting, still replaying it, still angry. That's not emotion anymore. That's habit. You fed it. You chose it. Now multiply that by every small irritation in your day. Every tiny trigger you feed turns into a storm. That's why you're exhausted. Not because of emotion, but because of attachment. Detach from the emotion after the message has been received. That's the discipline of control. Here's how you practice it. Step 1. Name it. When emotion rises, say it. This is frustration. This is fear. Naming it creates space between you and it. Step 2. Feel it fully for 90 seconds. Don't push it away. Let it exist. Observe it. Notice where it sits in your body. Breathe into it. Step 3. Ask, what is this emotion trying to teach me? Every emotion has a lesson. Fear teaches preparation. Anger teaches boundaries. Sadness teaches value. Step 4. Release it. When the lesson is received, let the emotion go. Don't rehearse it. Don't relive it. Don't repost it in your mind. You felt it. You learned. Now move forward. That's emotional maturity in action. You have to stop thinking your emotions are truth. They are perspective, not proof. They are weather, not climate. They change. They pass. They are temporary by design. So why build your identity around what was meant to move? That's what the weak do. The weak cling to emotion because it makes them feel alive. The strong let it pass because they know it's not who they are. You are not anger. You are not fear. You are not sadness. You are the awareness behind them. That awareness, that stillness, is you. That's where your power lives. So the next time emotion surges, remember, you are the observer, not the reaction. Feel it, but don't feed it. That's the key. Emotional mastery isn't about being cold. It's about being conscious. It's not about blocking emotion. It's about commanding it. That's what makes you untouchable, when you can experience everything without becoming it. You don't need anyone's permission to do that. You don't need validation to stay calm. You just need discipline. The discipline to stop feeding what doesn't serve you. You have a choice every day to let your emotions drive you or to let them guide you. One destroys you. The other refines you. Choose wisely. When you stop feeding every emotion, you start conserving your energy. You start moving through life lighter, sharper, stronger. You start responding, not reacting. You start leading yourself. That's the beginning of peace. Not the absence of feeling, but the control of it. Because emotions are loud, but discipline is louder. Chapter 3. Emotional control is the ultimate power. Power is not loud. Power is not emotional. Power is calm, because the calm mind always wins. In business, in war, in relationships, it's always the calm one who sees clearly, acts strategically, and controls the outcome. You've seen it. You've felt it. When chaos breaks out, most people crumble. They yell, they panic, they rush. And in that noise, they lose the one thing that matters most: control. But the ones who rise, the ones who win, they stay composed. They don't let the moment own them. They own the moment. That's not luck. That's not personality. That's discipline. Power is control. Control is calm. Calm is power. Say it again until it sinks in. Power is control. Control is calm. Calm is power. That's the foundation of every strong mind. Understand this. Emotional control isn't weakness. It's command. People confuse calm with apathy. They think being composed means not caring. Wrong. Calm means clarity. It means you care about winning more than reacting. It means you value effectiveness over emotion. Think of a soldier in combat. Bullets flying. Chaos everywhere. The difference between survival and disaster isn't who's faster. It's who stays calm. Panic kills. Emotion blinds. But the soldier who breathes, who slows down, who responds instead of reacts, that soldier leads. It's the same in every arena of life. The CEO who remains steady when markets crash. The parent who stays composed when their child explodes. The athlete who keeps focus after failure. That's control. That's power. Here's the truth. Emotion wants to pull you down. It wants you to match chaos with chaos. But that's the trap. When you let emotion run you, you play on the level of the undisciplined. When you stay calm, you rise above the noise. Because calm isn't submission, it's superiority. You have a choice every day to react emotionally or to respond intelligently. And that choice determines your strength. When you're emotional, you lose perspective. You stop seeing clearly. You act out of fear, anger, or pride. And emotion-driven decisions always cost more than they give. You've seen it. The argument you didn't need to have. The text you shouldn't have sent. The words you can't take back. That's what happens when emotion leads. Control prevents that. Control gives you leverage. Because while everyone else is reacting, you're thinking. While they're shouting, you're strategizing. While they're losing focus, you're planning your next move. That's how calm people win, not by force, but by foresight. Power isn't the ability to dominate others. Power is the ability to dominate yourself. Anyone can throw a punch. Anyone can yell. Anyone can lose control. But control, real control, that's rare. And that rarity is what gives it value. The world respects calm because calm is rare. In chaos, composure becomes authority. That's why leaders are trusted. That's why warriors are respected. Because they don't lose themselves when things go wrong. They stand still while everyone else is shaking. That's power. If you want to master emotional control, you need to train it like a muscle. You don't wait until chaos hits to practice calm. You build it every day. In traffic, in conversation, in failure, in frustration. Every time you feel that surge of anger or anxiety, that's your training ground. Pause. Breathe. Control. That's your workout. That's your discipline. Because self-control is the highest form of strength. Anyone can control others. Few can control themselves. Let's make this practical. Here's how you start training emotional control. Step 1. Anticipate chaos. Don't be surprised when life gets messy. Expect it. When you expect challenge, you stay prepared. Step 2. Practice composure daily. When something irritates you, pause before reacting. Not once, not twice, every time. Step 3. Measure your response, not your emotion. Stop asking, "How do I feel?" Start asking, "How am I responding?" Because how you respond defines your strength. Step 4. Learn to use emotion, not obey it. Anger can be focus. Fear can be fuel. Pain can be power if you direct it. Understand something. Emotion is not bad. It's powerful energy. But undirected energy is destruction. You don't suppress emotion, you master it. You don't kill emotion, you control it. That's what separates chaos from control. It's not about feeling less, it's about managing better. That's emotional leadership, the ability to lead yourself before you lead anyone else. Let's look at the battlefield of business. When things fall apart, when the market shifts, when the pressure hits, emotion drives most people into panic. They make desperate moves. They sell too early. They blame others. But the calm one waits, watches, thinks, because control creates vision, and vision creates opportunity. While others are spiraling, the calm person is strategizing. While others complain, the calm person adapts. That's how emotional control turns into real-world power. It's the same in your relationships. The one who stays calm controls the tone. The one who doesn't react controls the direction. Calm people don't lose arguments because they're not even playing the emotional game. They lead it, they shape it, they end it on their terms. That's dominance through discipline. Ours is control. Control is calm. Calm is power. Say it again until it becomes part of you. Because if you can master calm in chaos, you become unstoppable. If you can think clearly When everyone else loses focus, you become dangerous. If you can choose your response under pressure, you become a leader, not a follower. That's the truth. You have a choice: to live ruled by emotion or to rule your emotion. One destroys your potential, the other unlocks it. So from now on, you do not chase control, you embody it. You do not react, you respond. You do not panic, you prepare. You are steady, you are calm, you are in command. Because calm doesn't mean weak, calm means ready. And readiness, that's power. Emotional control is not optional. It's the foundation of every victory, every achievement, every peace of mind. When you master calm, you master clarity. When you master clarity, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, you master life. Chapter 4. Detach from drama. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Let that sink in. Not every fight deserves your energy. Not every conflict deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves your reaction. Because here's the truth. Emotional chaos thrives on reaction. It feeds on attention. It grows when you give it energy. And most people, they feed it. They chase it. They live in it. But you're not most people. You're learning the art of control. And control requires detachment. Drama is noise, and the disciplined mind doesn't feed noise. You have to protect your peace like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. You can't build discipline in chaos. You can't think clearly when you're surrounded by emotional warfare. You can't evolve when you're constantly reacting to distractions. That's why detachment isn't weakness, it's strategy. It's not about being cold, it's about being clear. It's not about not caring, it's about caring selectively. Look around. Most people are addicted to conflict. They love drama. They love gossip. They love chaos because chaos makes them feel alive. But it's a cheap kind of aliveness. It's borrowed energy. It fades fast. The moment the noise stops, they feel empty, so they create more noise. You've seen it. The friend who can't stop talking about other people. The coworker who thrives on tension. The person who always has a problem to solve, but never a solution. They live off drama because it distracts them from themselves. Don't become one of them. You have to understand, your attention is power. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And what you give energy to grows. So if you keep feeding conflict, you'll live in conflict. If you keep reacting to drama, you'll become part of the drama. That's not control, that's chaos management. You have a choice. Every day, every moment, every interaction, you can feed peace or you can feed noise. Choose wisely. When you detach from drama, you stop playing the emotional games that trap most people. You stop arguing to be right. You stop explaining yourself to the unreasonable. You stop defending your peace to people committed to misunderstanding you. Because you realize something powerful. You don't need their permission to stay calm. You don't need validation to walk away. You don't need closure from chaos. That's freedom. There's a saying, don't wrestle with pigs. You both get dirty, and the pig likes it. Drama works the same way. You can't win an emotional argument with an undisciplined person because they're not looking for truth. They're looking for reaction. The moment you react, you lose. Why? Because now you're on their level. You're in their world. They've dragged you into the emotional mud, and control doesn't exist in the mud. So stop wrestling. Let them talk. Let them project. Let them be loud. You stay calm. Stay silent. Stay steady. That's how you win without engaging. That's how you master the moment. This is emotional jujitsu. You don't fight force with force. You redirect it. You let it pass through you instead of into you. When someone tries to provoke you, don't react. When someone disrespects you, don't respond immediately. When someone lies about you, don't rush to defend yourself. Silence is your weapon. Composure is your armor. Detachment is your victory. Let's make this practical. Here's how you start detaching from drama today. Step 1. Stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You can't convince someone whose goal isn't truth, it's attention. Walk away. Let your actions speak. Step 2. Protect your environment. Distance yourself from people who thrive on negativity, gossip, or outrage. Your circle should challenge you, not drain you. Step 3. Master the pause. Before you respond to anything emotional, pause. Ask yourself, does this deserve my energy? If the answer is no, move on. Step 4. Build a calm identity. When people think of you, they should think unshakable. Be the one who never loses composure, no matter what's thrown at you. That's control. That's power. Here's something most people never learn. Silence is not weakness. Silence is self-control. People who can't control their mouth can't control their mind. And people who can't control their mind can't control their life. Every argument you walk away from makes you stronger. Every fight you refuse to feed sharpens your discipline. Every ounce of energy you save becomes fuel for your purpose. That's how detachment builds power. Now listen carefully. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means focus. It means you no longer chase validation from chaos. It means you no longer trade your peace for participation. You've decided that peace is worth more than proving a point. That's evolution. You don't need to respond to everything. You don't need to correct every lie. You don't need to react to every disrespect. Because people operating from drama don't deserve direct access to your energy. You are not obligated to fight every battle. You are not responsible for fixing every person. You are not required to participate in every storm. You have a choice, always. Choose peace over proving. Choose calm over chaos. Choose silence over noise. That's emotional discipline in action. Here's the reality. The more you detach from drama, the more powerful you become. Because now you control your focus. You control your energy. You control your life. You start operating on a different frequency, one that chaotic people can't reach. They'll try to provoke you. They'll try to pull you back. They'll call you cold, arrogant, distant. Ignore it, because that's the sound of people losing control of you. Let them talk. Let them project. Let them spin in their own storm. You stay still. Stay disciplined. Stay detached. That's how you win, quietly. So remember this. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to react to every voice that calls your name. You don't have to fight for your peace. You just have to protect it. Because peace isn't found in the absence of drama. It's built in the discipline of not feeding it. That's the lesson. That's the strategy. That's the power. Chapter 5. Train your triggers. Every trigger is a teacher. Every emotional reaction is a mirror. And every time you lose control, life is showing you where you still need training. That's the truth. Your triggers aren't punishments. They're feedback. They're not proof of weakness. They're proof of what still needs work. You can run from them, or you can train them. You can react, or you can learn. You have a choice. Most people live as slaves to their triggers. Someone says the wrong thing, and they explode. Someone looks at them the wrong way, and they shut down. Someone disrespects them, and they spiral into rage, resentment, or self-pity. And then they say, "That's just how I am." No, that's not who you are. That's what you've allowed yourself to become. It's not about how you are. It's about what you train yourself to be. Because emotional control isn't natural. It's trained. It's built. It's strengthened. It's earned through repetition and awareness. Just like physical strength, mental strength is built under tension. That's what your triggers are: emotional tension, opportunities to build resilience, moments to test your discipline. So stop avoiding your triggers. Start studying them. Here's the framework: awareness, acknowledgement, adjustment. 3 steps. Simple, repeatable, transformative. Step 1. Awareness. You can't master what you don't notice. You must become hyper-aware of what sets you off. Who triggers you? What situations break your composure? When do you lose control of your tone, your posture, your focus? Track it. Write it down. Observe it like a scientist, because awareness breaks the automatic cycle. It interrupts the old programming. It gives you space, the space to choose differently. That's where power begins. Step 2. Acknowledgement. This is where most people fail. They notice the trigger, but deny it. They pretend they're fine. They hide behind ego, pride, or blame. But denial keeps you stuck. You can't change what you won't admit. So acknowledge it. Say it clearly. This still bothers me. This still gets under my skin. This still controls me. That's not weakness. That's honesty. And honesty is the foundation of discipline. You can't strengthen what you won't face. Step 3. Adjustment. Now this is where transformation happens. Awareness gives you data. Acknowledgement gives you truth. Adjustment gives you growth. You don't just hope to do better. You train to do better. That means visualizing the trigger before it happens. See yourself calm when someone disrespects you. See yourself composed when the pressure rises. See yourself pausing when your instinct is to react. That's how you train emotional control, through deliberate visualization. Professional athletes do it. Soldiers do it. Leaders do it. They don't just prepare for success, they prepare for stress. You can too. Every morning, visualize your day before it happens. Picture the challenges that might come. The traffic jam, the rude coworker, the family member who always knows how to push your buttons. See it now, feel it now. Then, in your mind, practice your response. Calm, focused, grounded. You're not reacting, you're responding. We're not feeding the trigger, you're training it. The moment you start doing this daily, your mind begins to rewire itself. Your reactions slow down. Your awareness sharpens. Your control expands. Because repetition builds mastery, and mastery begins with intention. Let's be real. You're going to be tested. Life will not make this easy. You'll think you've mastered your anger until someone crosses a line. You'll think you've overcome anxiety until something unexpected happens. You'll think you've conquered pride until someone disrespects you publicly. That's life testing your progress. But that's how you grow. Each trigger is another rep in the gym of emotional control. Each challenge is another weight on the bar. You don't get stronger by avoiding resistance. You get stronger by facing it, deliberately, repeatedly, and calmly. That's training. Remember this: you can't control other people. You can't control circumstances. You can only control your conditioning. So condition yourself for composure. Condition yourself for clarity. Condition yourself for calm. When something triggers you, don't say, "Why me?" Say, "Train me." That one phrase changes everything. Because now, instead of reacting emotionally, you're responding intentionally. You're shifting from victim to student, from chaos to control. That's power. Here's a simple exercise to begin training your triggers. 1. Identify one emotional habit you want to break. Maybe it's snapping in traffic. Maybe it's taking criticism personally. Maybe it's overthinking. 2. Anticipate the trigger. Visualize it before it happens. What does it feel like? Where does it start in your body? 3. Rehearse your composure. Breathe. Slow your speech. Relax your jaw. Ground your body. Repeat your mantra. Feel it, but don't feed it. 4. Execute in real time. The next time the trigger shows up, practice the pause. Don't react. Don't explain. Don't justify. Just breathe. And after it passes, reflect. Ask yourself, what did I learn? How can I respond better next time? That's how training happens. Through deliberate awareness, through consistent application, through honest reflection. Here's what you'll discover. The more you train your triggers, the less they control you. The anger still comes, but it doesn't own you. The anxiety still visits, but it doesn't paralyze you. The frustration still appears, but it doesn't derail you. Because you've rewired your response system. You've built emotional muscle memory. Now, instead of reacting impulsively, you respond strategically. That's the difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs react emotionally. Professionals respond deliberately. You are becoming a professional at emotional control. Never forget, your peace is not built by avoiding discomfort. It's built by mastering it. Every trigger that used to make you weak can now make you stronger. Every challenge that used to drain you can now train you. If you stay consistent, if you treat emotional mastery like physical training, you'll notice it. The pause gets longer, the reactions get quieter, the control gets deeper. And that's the goal. You're not chasing a life without triggers. You're building a life where triggers no longer own you. So remember this mantra. Every trigger is a teacher. Every reaction is a lesson. Every moment is training. You have a choice to stay reactive or become refined. You don't need their permission. You just need discipline. That's the path. That's the practice. That's emotional control in motion. Chapter 6. Discipline over mood. Winners act based on discipline, not emotion. That's the truth most people never learn. Because most people move only when they feel like it. They work when they're motivated. They show up when they're comfortable. They try only when it's convenient. And then they wonder why nothing changes. You have to understand this. Your feelings don't determine your future. Your discipline does. Your mood doesn't decide your destiny. Your decisions do. You won't always feel like doing what needs to be done. You won't always feel inspired. You won't always feel strong, focused, or clear. But that's when discipline matters most. Anyone can act when they're excited. Anyone can stay focused when things are going their way. But discipline shows up when feelings disappear. Discipline is consistency through boredom. Discipline is action through fatigue. Discipline is calm through chaos. That's the difference between those who want it and those who live it. Think about it. The soldier doesn't ask, "Do I feel like training today?" The athlete doesn't ask, "Am I motivated to practice?" The professional doesn't ask, "Do I feel ready to perform?" They do it because they decided. You don't move because you feel ready. You move because you decided. You don't speak calmly because you're not angry. You speak calmly because you're disciplined. You don't show up because it's easy. You show up because you made a promise to yourself. That's discipline over mood. Feelings are temporary. Discipline is permanent. Your feelings shift by the hour, by the minute, by the moment. But your standards, those can be constant. And when your standards stay strong while your emotions fluctuate, that's when you become unstoppable. You have a choice: live by how you feel or live by what you decide. Most people surrender to feelings. They let fatigue, doubt, and fear dictate their actions. They let comfort guide their schedule. But the disciplined person, they follow structure, not emotion. They follow commitment, not convenience. It's not about comfort. It's about consistency. It's not about motivation. It's about mastery. That's how transformation happens. Here's a truth you need to burn into your mind. Discipline is freedom. When you train yourself to act regardless of how you feel, you free yourself from emotional slavery. You don't wait for inspiration. You create it through action. You don't wait for confidence. You build it through repetition. You don't wait for clarity. You find it through motion. You stop being a hostage to moods and start being a commander of your actions. That's real freedom. Let's get practical. You wake up tired. Your alarm goes off. The feeling says, stay in bed. Discipline says, get up and move. You're angry. Someone disrespects you. The feeling says, snap back. Discipline says, breathe. Respond with control. You're afraid. The opportunity feels risky. The feeling says, wait until you're ready. Discipline says, you're never ready. Do it anyway. This is the daily battle between mood and mastery, and the one you feed wins. Discipline is not about suppressing emotion. It's about choosing what leads, feeling or focus. You can feel fear and still take action. You can feel anger and still stay composed. You can feel doubt and still move forward. You're not your feelings. You're the driver behind them. And when you choose discipline, you reclaim that driver's seat. Here's how to start training discipline over mood. Step 1. Decide your standard in advance. You don't rise to your mood, you fall to your standard. Decide who you want to be before the feeling hits. Write it down. No matter how I feel, I will do X. Step 2. Create friction for weakness. Make it harder to quit. Put your alarm across the room. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Prepare your actions for when motivation disappears. Step 3. Measure action, not emotion. Stop asking, how do I feel about it? Start asking, did I do it? Feelings don't define progress, actions do. Step 4. Reward discipline, not emotion. Celebrate consistency, not comfort. Reward yourself for showing up, not for feeling good about it. That's how you rewire your behavior. Repetition with intention. Understand this. Emotions are not enemies. They're just signals. They tell you how you feel, not what you should do. Discipline listens, then decides. Weakness reacts. Strength responds. You can acknowledge the emotion without obeying it. You can say, I feel tired, and still act. You can say, I feel nervous, and still lead. You can say, I feel angry, and still remain calm. That's maturity. That's power. That's discipline over mood. The world doesn't reward feelings. It rewards follow-through. You don't get paid for your motivation. You get paid for your execution. You don't get respected for your potential. You get respected for your consistency. You don't get remembered for your emotions. You get remembered for your discipline. So stop chasing feelings. Start building patterns. You won't always feel ready. You won't always feel strong. You won't always feel certain. But you can always decide. And every time you act despite your mood, you strengthen your identity. You stop being the person who waits and start being the person who moves. You stop being emotional and start being effective. That's transformation. Think about your heroes. They didn't become great because they felt like it every day. They became great because they kept going on the days they didn't. Discipline builds momentum. Momentum builds mastery. And mastery builds peace. Because nothing gives you more peace than knowing no matter what happens, you'll still show up. You can't always control how you feel, but you can always control what you do. That's real power. So remember this mantra. You don't move because you feel ready. You move because you decided. That's the separator. That's the mindset. That's the difference between average and elite. It's not about motivation. It's about maintenance. It's not about emotion. It's about execution. It's not about mood. It's about mastery. You have a choice every single day to surrender to how you feel or to rise through what you've committed to. Choose discipline over mood. Choose structure over softness. Choose decision over emotion. That's the way. Chapter 7. The Power of Emotional Minimalism. You don't need to react to everything. You don't need to feel everything. You don't need to chase every emotion that passes through your head. Because here's the truth. Every reaction costs energy. And energy is the most valuable currency you have. Emotional minimalism is about protecting that currency. It's about simplifying your inner world. It's about clearing the noise so you can move with precision. Less reaction, more direction. That's the mantra. That's the discipline. Most people are emotionally cluttered. Every opinion, every comment, every piece of news, it gets inside them. They react, they overthink, they spiral, and then they wonder why they feel drained, lost, and distracted. You can't build clarity in chaos. You can't build peace if you're addicted to reaction. Every unnecessary reaction is a withdrawal from your mental bank account. And every disciplined non-reaction is a deposit. You have to start guarding your energy like it's gold. Because it is. Emotional minimalism doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop leaking. It means you stop giving away your focus to things that don't deserve it. It means you stop getting emotionally involved in things that don't serve your growth. That's not cold. That's controlled. That's not detachment. That's direction. Less reaction, more direction. Look at the most focused people in the world. Monks, stoics, elite performers, special forces. They've mastered the art of emotional minimalism. They don't waste energy on gossip, ego battles, or emotional theatrics. They don't chase validation. They don't crave noise. They conserve energy for purpose. They save emotion for execution. They channel everything into movement. That's why they seem calm, because they are clear. You want peace? You need fewer emotional entanglements. You need less clutter inside your mind. You need to start cutting the emotional fat. Here's what emotional minimalism really is. It's not about feeling less. It's about choosing what deserves your emotion. You don't react to everything. You respond to what matters. You don't chase drama. You pursue direction. You don't need to attend every emotional event you're invited to. You have a choice. Every time something triggers you, every time someone provokes you, you can choose to protect your peace. Let's break it down. Emotional minimalism has 3 levels: awareness, boundaries, and discipline. Level 1, awareness. You start noticing what drains you, who drains you, what environments keep you emotionally tense. Awareness is step 1, because you can't simplify what you don't see. Start tracking your reactions. Ask yourself daily, what am I giving energy to that doesn't deserve it? You'll be surprised how many things you can let go of without consequence. Level 2, boundaries. You protect your focus like a fortress. Stop letting everyone have access to your emotional world. Not every conversation needs your opinion. Not every situation needs your energy. Not every conflict needs your participation. Boundaries are not about arrogance, they're about alignment. The people who value peace set limits. The people who lack peace set none. If it costs your peace, it's too expensive. If it drains your energy, it doesn't belong. That's the mindset of emotional minimalism. Level 3. Discipline. You train your emotional restraint like a muscle. You don't reply impulsively. You don't react instantly. You pause. You breathe. You decide consciously. That's how you reclaim control. Every pause is power. Every breath is protection. Every delay in reaction is discipline. Less reaction, more direction. The undisciplined mind explodes with emotion. The disciplined mind channels it. Emotional minimalism is emotional mastery. You're not suppressing, you're streamlining. You're not becoming numb, you're becoming precise. Precision with your emotions is what separates the calm from the chaotic, the powerful from the reactive, the leader from the follower. You have a choice, every single time, reaction or direction. Here's a hard truth. Most people are addicted to emotional chaos. They confuse intensity for importance. They chase emotional stimulation because stillness feels uncomfortable. But if you want power, you must learn to value calm. You must train yourself to stay centered while the world spins around you. That's the discipline few master. Try this. Next time someone tries to argue, don't bite. Next time someone posts something stupid, scroll past it. Next time you feel the urge to defend yourself, stay silent. Silence is strength. Restraint is power. Every time you resist the urge to react, you prove to yourself that you're in control. You build internal muscle. You build peace through practice. Less reaction, more direction. Repeat it until it becomes your default. Emotional minimalism also means simplifying what you feel about yourself. Stop overanalyzing every mistake. Stop dramatizing every setback. Stop attaching emotion to everything that happens. Not everything has to be a story. Not every failure needs a label. Sometimes things just are. That's freedom. When you stop assigning emotion to everything, you start seeing life as data, not drama. You can observe without obsessing. You can feel without falling apart. That's emotional minimalism in action. Here's what happens when you practice it daily. Your decisions become cleaner. Your focus becomes sharper. Your sleep becomes deeper. Your relationships become calmer. Because you stop wasting energy on emotional noise. You stop trying to control everything and start controlling yourself. You stop chasing understanding from others and start understanding yourself. That's power. You'll notice something magical when you live this way. Your energy lasts longer. Your thoughts get clearer. Your mood stabilizes. Because the less emotional clutter you carry, the lighter your life becomes. Minimalism isn't just about stuff. It's about states. It's not about fewer possessions. It's about fewer emotional burdens. You can't reach your highest potential while carrying every emotional bag. You have to drop what doesn't matter. You have to travel light. That's the path of emotional minimalism. So the next time you feel the urge to react, pause and say it out loud. Less reaction, more direction. That's your reset button. That's your code of calm. That's your discipline in motion. You don't need to prove your control. You express it through silence, stillness, and selectivity. Because emotional chaos is expensive, but emotional minimalism, that's wealth. Chapter 8. Stop needing external validation. The fastest way to lose control of your emotions is to hand them over to other people. When your peace depends on approval, you've already surrendered your power. Because the moment you start chasing validation, you stop leading yourself. And here's the truth. Validation is a drug. It gives you a quick high, then leaves you empty. When you no longer seek approval, you gain control. That's the shift. That's the freedom. You've been trained since birth to chase validation. Parents praised you when you performed. Teachers rewarded you when you conformed. Society applauded you when you fit in. So you learned that being accepted means being enough. But that's the lie that keeps you weak. You're not here to please. You're here to grow. You're here to lead. And leaders don't beg for validation. They build self-certainty. Think about it. Every time you post something and check for likes, you're asking the world, am I enough? Every time you change your opinion to avoid judgment, you're whispering, please approve of me. Every time you silence your truth to fit in, you shrink your power. You can't control your emotions while you're controlled by approval. You can't be mentally strong if every criticism breaks your focus. When you stop needing validation, you become unshakable. When you stop seeking applause, you become powerful. Because silence from others no longer feels like rejection. It feels like freedom. Let's be clear. Wanting approval isn't evil. It's human. But needing it? That's weakness disguised as connection. And here's what you need to understand. Validation dependency is emotional slavery. You are handing the keys of your confidence to strangers. You are outsourcing your worth. That's not confidence. That's captivity. You have a choice to keep performing for the crowd or to start building for yourself. Social media has made this addiction worse. Millions of people refreshing, scrolling, comparing. Every like becomes a little hit of dopamine. Every silence feels like a personal failure. You're not competing against others. You're competing for attention that doesn't matter. You see someone's highlight reel and start questioning your own story. You see someone else's success and forget your own progress. You start feeling behind, broken, unworthy. But here's the truth. They're posting for validation, too. Everyone's trying to look certain while feeling lost. Stop comparing yourself to curated illusions. Stop letting other people's approval define your identity. That's the key to emotional freedom. When you stop chasing validation, you regain something far more valuable: focus. Focus on your work, focus on your growth, focus on your discipline. Because validation seekers are distracted. They spend more time being seen than becoming strong. You can't build depth while living for attention. You can't master your emotions while chasing praise. It's not about being liked. It's about being grounded. It's not about applause. It's about alignment. That's the real transformation. Here's how you break the addiction. 3 steps: awareness, withdrawal, rebuilding. Step 1, awareness. You start noticing your patterns. When do you seek approval? From whom? Why? Every time you crave external validation, pause. Ask yourself, what am I really asking for? You're not asking for likes. You're asking for reassurance. You're not asking for attention. You're asking for significance. And the moment you see that, you can change it. Because awareness is always the first act of control. Step 2, withdrawal. You start cutting off the supply. Stop checking the metrics. Stop fishing for compliments. Stop performing for attention. Yes, you'll feel withdrawal. Yes, your ego will resist. But that discomfort is growth. The silence that once felt painful will become peaceful. You'll start realizing that you were never empty. just distracted. Validation isn't the source of your worth. It's the thief of it. When you stop feeding the addiction, you starve your insecurity. Step 3. Rebuilding. You start building internal validation through discipline. You stop asking, "Do they like me?" You start asking, "Am I proud of me?" You stop needing to be told you're enough. You start proving it through consistent action. Discipline builds confidence faster than approval ever could. When you know you did the work, you don't need applause. When you know you stayed composed, you don't need validation. You have your own scoreboard, and it's called integrity. That's how you rebuild self-certainty. Real confidence isn't loud. It's quiet. It doesn't scream for attention. It radiates from alignment. The person who knows their worth doesn't advertise it. They live it. They move differently. They speak less but carry more weight. That's the paradox. The less you need approval, the more people respect you. Because energy doesn't lie. Self-certainty is magnetic. Neediness repels. When you walk in self-certainty, others feel it, even in your silence. Here's the shift you need to make. You don't need their permission to be proud of yourself. You don't need their approval to stay consistent. You don't need their praise to keep going. You decide you're enough, and that decision becomes your emotional armor. That's the key. That's power. Let me tell you something real. There's no peace in performance. You'll never win the approval game because the rules keep changing. One day they love you, the next they forget you. That's how it works. So stop playing the game. Stop auditioning for people who can't even validate themselves. When you withdraw from the performance, you enter your power. You stop living for reaction, and you start living for purpose. That's the real reward. Peace that isn't conditional. When you no longer seek approval, you gain control. When you stop asking, "Do they see me?" you finally see yourself. When you stop chasing validation, you start chasing mastery. You have a choice: to live for reaction or to live for direction. It's not about applause. It's about alignment. It's not about image. It's about integrity. That's emotional control in its purest form. And once you master that, once you stop needing external validation, you become unstoppable. Because nobody can manipulate you through praise or rejection anymore. They can't control what you don't crave. They can't shake what's grounded in truth. That's how you build unbreakable self-control. Not through ego, through discipline. Chapter 9. Pain is information, not identity. Pain is not who you are. Pain is what happened to you. And what happened to you is not the end of you. Pain doesn't define you. It instructs you. It's not there to punish. It's there to prepare. Every struggle, every heartbreak, every disappointment carries data. And if you're strong enough to decode that data, you grow. That's emotional mastery. That's real control. Don't run from pain. Read it. Learn it. Use it. Most people waste their pain. They wear it like an identity. They make it their story. I was betrayed. I was rejected. I was hurt. Yes, but what did you learn? Because pain isn't supposed to trap you. It's supposed to teach you. If you don't learn from it, it will repeat itself. That's how life works. Pain is a mirror. It shows you where you need to heal. It reveals what you still attach to. It points to where your discipline must grow. The weak seek comfort. The strong seek clarity. And clarity is found in pain. When you stop avoiding discomfort, you start accessing wisdom. When you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" everything changes. That's the key. Don't run from pain. Read it, learn it, use it. Every great transformation begins in pain. Every leader, Every warrior, every champion has walked through their share of suffering. The difference? They didn't let it define them. They used it as fuel. They turned rejection into redirection. They turned losses into lessons. They turned setbacks into strategy. That's the mindset of mastery. You have a choice: to drown in pain or to use it as data. Pain reveals your weaknesses. It shows you where you still react. It shows you what still controls you. That's not punishment. That's precision. That's feedback. Pain is life giving you notes on your own growth. You can learn more from one season of struggle than 10 years of comfort. Because pain exposes truth. Comfort hides it. Comfort numbs you. Comfort protects your illusions. Pain strips those illusions away. Pain shows you what's real about yourself, your relationships, and your limits. When you face pain, you face truth. And when you face truth, you become free. That's why avoiding pain is avoiding growth. Stop saying, "I can't handle this." Start saying, "I'm learning from this." Stop saying, "This broke me." Start saying, "This built me." You're not being punished. You're being refined. The pain that feels unbearable right now may be the exact experience shaping you for the next level. It's not personal. It's preparation. Every scar tells a story of survival. Every heartbreak strengthens your emotional armor. Every rejection sharpens your focus. Pain is a process, not a prison. Here's the truth no one wants to hear. You can't avoid pain. You can only choose what it means. You can choose to see it as evidence that life is unfair, or you can choose to see it as the lesson that life is teaching you discipline. The pain isn't the problem. Your interpretation is. When you change the meaning, you change the impact. That's the power of perspective. That's emotional control in motion. Think of pain as a personal trainer. It pushes you, it stretches you, it challenges your limits, but it's never trying to destroy you. It's trying to build capacity. Physical pain builds muscle. Emotional pain builds resilience. Spiritual pain builds depth. That's the design. The discomfort you resist today is the strength you'll need tomorrow. So stop labeling pain as bad. Start labeling it as feedback. Feedback that says, grow here, evolve here, strengthen here. That's how you turn suffering into self-mastery. Let's talk about rejection. Rejection hurts, but rejection is not loss. It's redirection. You didn't lose something meant for you. You were guided away from something that couldn't sustain you. When you understand that, you stop chasing what left. You stop resenting what didn't work out. You start trusting the process. Pain becomes guidance, not grief. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently. That's growth. Don't run from pain. Read it, learn it, use it. Every time you face pain, you stand at a fork in the road. One path leads to bitterness. The other leads to wisdom. Bitterness keeps you stuck. Wisdom moves you forward. And you get to decide which path you walk. That's the moment where emotional control matters most. When your pain is fresh, when your emotions are loud, when your ego is hurt. In that moment, pause. Breathe. Choose discipline over reaction. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? If you ask that question long enough, pain stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like progress. Here's the truth. Every emotion you feel has a purpose, even pain, especially pain. Anger shows you your boundaries. Fear shows you your faith. Sadness shows you your attachments. Pain shows you all three. That's why you can't suppress it. You have to study it. You have to sit with it long enough to understand what it's saying. Because pain will whisper the truth long before peace arrives. And the more you listen, the less you suffer. Because suffering is pain without understanding. You have to stop saying, "I'm broken." You're not broken. You're being built. You're being shaped, refined, trained for greater strength. Every scar you carry is proof that pain did not defeat you. It taught you. It informed you. It transformed you. You have a choice: to keep identifying with your pain or to start interpreting it as wisdom. Because pain is not identity, it's information. And when you start treating it like information, you become unshakable. You no longer fear life's challenges. You study them. You grow through them. That's mastery. That's emotional control. So the next time pain knocks on your door, don't hide. Open it. Listen to what it's saying. Take notes. Because the lesson it brings today will protect you tomorrow. That's how warriors are made. That's how strong minds are built. Pain refines. Pain reveals. Pain rebuilds. Don't run from pain. Read it, learn it, use it. Chapter 10. Become the eye of the storm. Life will not stop for your peace. Chaos doesn't wait for your readiness. The world will keep spinning, fast, loud, and unpredictable. And in the middle of that, you must learn to stand still. You must learn to be calm in motion, still in chaos, unmoved in the storm. That's emotional mastery. That's real control. True mastery isn't never feeling. It's feeling everything and staying centered anyway. Be the calm. Be the center. Be the control. Picture a hurricane. Winds tearing, debris flying, everything spinning out of control. But in the middle, absolute stillness. That's the eye of the storm. You must become that eye. Calm, present, focused. While everything around you spirals, you stay rooted in discipline. Because calm is not weakness. It's strength under pressure. When everyone else reacts, you respond. When everyone else panics, you breathe. When everyone else runs, you stand. That's the difference between emotion and mastery. You can't stop the storm, but you can become the center of it. Be the calm. Be the center. Be the control. The storm will always test you. It will come in the form of people, deadlines, conflict, uncertainty. But remember, storms reveal what's built on solid ground and what's not. If your peace depends on everything going right, you're fragile. If your peace depends on your control of others, you're delusional. But if your peace comes from within, you're unbreakable. That's the key. Control doesn't mean controlling the world. It means controlling yourself while the world loses its mind. That's how leaders lead. That's how warriors win. That's how masters rise. You have a choice: to be consumed by the chaos or to become the calm that ends it. You can't fight storms with storms. You fight storms with stillness. Stillness isn't silence. It's strategy. It's the ability to slow your thoughts when everything else speeds up. Stillness gives you clarity, and clarity gives you power. That's the secret the undisciplined never learn. The more chaotic the world becomes, the more valuable calm is. In chaos, calm is currency. In panic, composure is gold. So, how do you become the eye of the storm? You train for it. You don't wait for peace to appear. You build it. You practice calm in small moments so you can sustain it in big ones. When you're stuck in traffic, breathe. When someone insults you, pause. When life feels unfair, observe before reacting. That's training. That's emotional conditioning. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you're building the muscle of control. You're rewiring your nervous system to respond instead of react. Because emotion is automatic, discipline is learned. And the person who can stay still when everyone else shakes is unstoppable. Be the calm. Be the center. Be the control. Let's talk about control for a moment. Control is not domination, it's direction. It's not about overpowering life, it's about steering yourself through it. You don't control the storm, you control the sail. You don't dictate the wind, you position the ship. That's mastery. The world doesn't owe you calm seas. It offers you storms so you can learn balance. Because balance isn't built in comfort. It's built in motion. It's built in chaos. The still mind is built in the storm, not away from it. The reason most people break under pressure is because they never practice peace. They wait until chaos hits to decide how to feel. But the master doesn't wait. The master prepares. They rehearse calm before the conflict. They practice patience before they need it. They meditate before they're forced to. Preparation creates peace. That's why the monk, the soldier, and the surgeon all look the same in chaos. Calm, deliberate, present. Because they've trained their response before the test arrived. You have that same power. You just have to choose to use it. When chaos hits, your instinct is to match its energy. To yell when you're yelled at. To rush when things feel rushed. To fight when you feel threatened. But that's reaction, and reaction is weakness disguised as strength. You think you're defending your control, but you're losing it. When you mirror chaos, you multiply it. When you meet fire with fire, everything burns. But when you remain calm, chaos burns itself out. That's power. Because calm doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the right thing at the right time for the right reason. That's discipline. That's control. The world rewards those who can stay centered when others fall apart. The athlete who keeps composure wins. The leader who stays calm inspires. The human who stays grounded thrives. So stop reacting to every emotional wind that blows. Stop chasing every thought that screams for attention. You don't need to engage every storm. You just need to anchor yourself. Anchor yourself in principles, in breath, in awareness. Because the eye of the storm is not empty, it's focused. It's not passive, it's intentional. That's what you must become. A person whose peace cannot be stolen because it's built, not borrowed. Be the calm. Be the center. Be the control. Here's the truth. Chaos will always exist. People will always test you. Emotions will always rise. But peace isn't the absence of problems. It's the presence of power. And that power comes from discipline, from awareness, from the decision to stay still when your instincts tell you to explode. Every moment of chaos is an opportunity to practice control. Every storm is a test of your emotional training. So don't curse the chaos. Thank it. It's showing you who you really are. It's giving you a mirror to your mind. If you're centered, it passes. If you're reactive, it consumes you. You decide. Calm is not about perfection. It's about direction. It's about choosing to steer, not drift. The storm doesn't define you. Your stillness does. That's how you reclaim your power. That's how you master your emotions. That's how you own your peace. Be the calm. Be the center. Be the control. Because in a chaotic world, the one who controls themselves controls everything. Emotional mastery isn't a gift, it's a discipline. You don't stumble into it. You train it in silence. You build it in moments of discomfort. And you prove it when the storm hits. Every time you pause before reacting, you grow stronger. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you take your power back. Because the world doesn't belong to the loud, the reactive, or the easily shaken. It belongs to those who can stay calm, stay focused, and stay in control, no matter what happens around them. So from this moment forward, no more overreacting, no more emotional surrender. Master your emotions before they master you. Control yourself, and you control your life.